The country that hosts the heart of Europe is quietly facing a storm that most people aren't paying attention to. Belgium isn't supposed to be in trouble. It's home to the European Union's institutions, sits at the crossroads of Western Europe, and was once among the wealthiest nations on the continent. Yet beneath that polished image, something deeper is unfolding. Crime networks exploiting global trade routes, political gridlock that seems almost permanent, and an economy losing momentum in ways that are difficult to ignore. This isn't just another economic slowdown story. It's about a country that symbolizes Europe itself, and what happens when that symbol starts to crack. Before we break this all down, make sure you hit like, share this video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next deep dive. Now let's get into it. Belgium has always punched above its weight. With just over 12 million people, it became the administrative core of Europe, largely because of geography. Sitting between France and Germany, it evolved into a political and economic bridge. Brussels became synonymous with European power. But symbolic importance doesn't guarantee stability. Over the past 2 decades, Belgium has quietly slipped behind its neighbors. While countries like the Netherlands surged ahead, Belgium's growth slowed, and the income gap widened dramatically. What was once a minor difference has now become a significant divide. The question is simple: what changed? The port of Antwerp is honestly one of the most important trade hubs in the world. For centuries, it helped build European wealth. Today it's also, well, one of the main entry points for cocaine into Europe. Authorities have seized massive quantities of drugs, so much that, honestly, incineration systems struggled to keep up. That alone tells you the scale of the problem. But here's the twist: prices didn't drop. That means supply remained strong despite record seizures. Criminal networks adapted quickly. Smaller shipments, more routes, less visibility. This sparked a serious question: is Belgium becoming a narco state? The answer is more nuanced. Yes, drug trafficking became a major issue, but authorities responded aggressively. Seizures dropped from extreme highs and traffickers started shifting operations elsewhere. That's not defeat, it's pressure working. Belgium isn't collapsing into criminal control, but it's on the front line of a global drug war most countries prefer not to talk about. Immigration has become the center of Belgium's internal debate. A significant portion of the population now has foreign roots, especially in major cities like Brussels. Critics argue that immigration is straining public finances and increasing unemployment. On the surface, the statistics seem to support that. A large share of unemployed individuals are of immigrant background, but raw numbers don't tell the full story. When you look deeper, the situation becomes more complex. Immigrants also make up a large portion of the population overall, so naturally they appear prominently in unemployment figures. The real issue isn't just immigration, it's integration. Language barriers, education gaps, and labor market access play a huge role. In fact, when immigrants speak the local language fluently, employment gaps shrink dramatically. That tells you everything about where the real problem lies. This isn't simply about too many immigrants. It's about how well a system absorbs and integrates new populations, and Belgium has struggled with that. Belgium's economy depends heavily on exports. Nearly 80% of its economic activity is tied to global trade. That worked brilliantly during decades of globalization, but the world changed. Trade slowed, supply chains shifted, and geopolitical tensions increased. For a country like Belgium, that's a direct hit. Add high taxes and rising public debt, and you get an economy that feels increasingly constrained. This is where the real slowdown comes from. Not just immigration, not just crime, but structural dependence on a global system that is no longer as reliable as it once was. Belgium's public debt is really one of the biggest long-term threats it faces. Projections suggest it could reach extreme levels in the coming decades if reforms don't happen. Even the most optimistic scenarios don't actually reduce the burden, they only stabilize it. The government has tried small fixes, minor tax adjustments, and, limited welfare reforms. But honestly, these are just surface-level solutions. The deeper issue is political. Belgium's political system is, well, famously complex. It's divided into regions with different languages, cultures, and priorities. Governments can take months, or even years, to form. At one point, Belgium went nearly 2 years without a functioning federal government. And, strangely enough, the country kept running. That tells you something important. The system is designed to prevent collapse, but it also prevents bold decisions. Radical change is almost impossible. Even necessary reforms get delayed or watered down. This creates a paradox: stability without progress. Belgium isn't collapsing, it's not turning into a failed state or some kind of criminal empire, but it is stagnating. Its economy is losing ground, its political system struggles to adapt, and its integration challenges remain unresolved. These are slow-moving problems, not dramatic enough to trigger panic, but still serious enough to shape the country's future. And because Belgium sits right at the center of Europe, its challenges actually reflect something bigger: the growing pains of the European model itself. Belgium's story isn't about sudden collapse. It's about, gradual pressure building up over time. Crime, immigration, and economic slowdown are all part of the picture, but none of them alone really explain what's happening. The real issue is how all these forces interact inside a system that, just resists change. That's what makes this story worth paying attention to. If you found this breakdown useful, make sure you subscribe, share this video with someone who follows global affairs, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Is Belgium adapting or falling behind? Let's talk about it.